Hello there. Having made lots and lots of pots and bowls and becoming rather bored with the repetition of it all, I decided to have a look on YouTube and see if I could get some fresh ideas. When browsing through the various videos, I came across a couple of videos by Josh Shremshock and the Off-Centered Potter, showing how they'd made double wall pots and then carved the outside wall to produce a pattern so you could see the inside wall through from the outside. So I thought, well, this sounds like a good idea. I thought I'd have a little go. This one here is my first attempt. It's a plain browny red with a pattern carved through it, and very, very heavy and a little bit clunky, but not bad, I suppose, for, as I said, a first attempt. But I wanted to see if I could think of something to do to it to make it a little bit more interesting. So this is what I'm going to show you. If you want to see the actual method of making a double wall pot, I suggest you go to either Josh's or the Off-Centered Potters, or more recently Udan, and to their video, and they can show you much better than I can. All I will show you at the moment is what I do to the pot after I've made the double wall pot. This is a double wall pot that I've just made using normal methods, and what I have to do now is take it off the wheel and let it go leather hard. So I'll see you tomorrow. Whilst the pot is drying to leather hard, I'm going to make up 2 batches of slip. As this pot is made from red terracotta clay, I'm going to use white earthenware clay as the basis of the 2 slips. I find the easy method of making this slip is to use the turnings from previous pots, which are allowed to dry and then crushed, and they end up a bit like this, and then pour these into an empty pot bottle, add some water, and then a colouring oxide. In my instance, one of the slips will be coloured with cobalt oxide to give a blue effect, and the other one will be coloured with chromium oxide to give green. Once they're being mixed up in the bottle, add some water and give them a very, very vigorous shake. Now this can take quite a long time, so keep going for a long time to get rid of all the lumps. Even then, it is best to pass it through a 120 sieve so that we get rid of all the lumps and we produce a nice smooth slip, about the consistency of double cream before it's been whipped. The pot has now been drying for 2 days and is leather hard. It has had the base turned and the side trimmed to make a pleasing shape. The next thing we need to do is to drill a hole in the outer shell. I tend to use an ordinary engineer's drill and just drill a hole. You need to be about 15 millimeters diameter. Just drill the hole, make sure, if you can, that no bits go inside between the 2 walls. There we are. That's nice and clean. The next thing to do is to take one of the slips, in this case the white earthenware slip with cobalt oxide, and fill up the cavity between the 2 walls. Take care not to drip on the outside if possible. When it's full, just hold it for a few seconds longer and then empty it all out again. and it's empty. Just give the edges a wipe. And that will have softened the clay somewhat, so we need now to leave it to dry out for another 12 hours or so. Now that the pot has dried out, we need to bung up this little hole by taking a small piece of clay and rolling it into a ball and inserting it into the hole. This will stop the slip that we're going to apply to the outside from contaminating the inside walls. We then need to take some more slip, this time white slip with chromium oxide, in a bowl or vessel of some sort, and dip the pot into the bowl, hold it for a few seconds, take it out and shake it dry. Place it on a tile or something with a piece of paper on so that it will dry out, and leave it there for another 12 hours. Now that the pot is dry enough to handle, we need to remove the plug that we put in and start to carve a pattern in the surface. Just be very careful and nice and clean cuts. This clay is reasonably soft. If you need to have a rest in between carving, make sure you put it in a bag to keep it soft, because if it dries out it'll become very brittle, and then you're going to break it without a doubt. You can decide what pattern you want to cut into it. 1 hour later and it looks like this. Just have to be patient. Now we need to let it dry completely and biscuit fire it and glaze it with a clear glaze, and it should be quite nice. These are just a few of the pots that I've made in the past with different sorts of based clay, and basically just chromium oxide or cobalt oxide as a colourant. Those are the only colourants I've got. But they look quite nice, I think, anyway. That's green on the inside and blue on the outside, obviously. And that's the other way around. So I'm quite pleased with those.